So 20 more push-ups.
Yeah,
No, we're dropping. We're getting
No. We're not doing push-ups.
We'll do push-ups after. We'll unmute myself. Whoa. Good to, Alex, you are way more spry today than you've ever been.
Some morning coffee.
Yeah, the coffee's got you going.
Yeah. It's really good.
All right, guys. Coach, go ahead. San Diego State tomorrow.
Yep. Thanks there, Coach Seaman, Powder River Leather Buck. Cody, you got an outstanding voice on the radio. Heard the 7220 radio on 1290 this morning. It was really good, like a little wrap-up right there. Fun facts, 2017, right? Last time we beat San Diego State here. 2007 was the last time we beat them there, I believe. So it's been a long time in Viejas. It used to be, what was it called, Cox back then? Yep, so, I mean, it's a long time, 2007, right? Funny fact about Coach Dutcher, I think in the last couple of years, he's 1-6 at elevation over 5,000. So, it'll be fun when they come back here. Those are always the fun facts, and my staff does that to make me feel better about who we are. But obviously you know what San Diego State is. I mean, I always say, like, you're the king of the hill until you get knocked off, right? Like, that's just who you are. Big, lot of respect and a lot of love for Coach Dutcher. Just one how he treats people, and then two, how he goes about it. He's got a great staff. Known Dave Velasquez for a long time as well. I just think, it's really hard to sustain success, right? Teams can get up there every once in a while, but to sustain it is something special, and San Diego State's done that for a long time. And so that's why it's always a great opportunity. Our guys are pretty juiced up to go out there. Obviously, one, to go to a different part of the United States, which a lot of these guys have lived in cold weather spots, and not many get to go to the West Coast as much. But two, to get a chance to play in a great environment in Viejas and go play a formidable opponent on the road. These opportunities don't come around very often, and that's what's special about this league. It's just the venues that you get to play in, whether you're at the AA or you're at Viejas or wherever you're at. I mean, that's what I love about the Mountain West. Is that's underrated venues all over, and so these things we're gonna enjoy them while we can for the next 2 years. I know that these opportunities are running out, so may have a couple more here.
What do you think kind of sticks out about this year's San Diego State team compared to obviously their teams the last couple of years?
Yeah, I'm not going to say that they're less physical than they've been. I'm going to say that they're more skilled than they've been. I think the skill set that they have in their guards, Bird, Boyd, Davis, obviously DeGorville off the bench. I mean, they could play anywhere between 9 to 11 guys and all be extremely skilled, with Guath being at 7 feet, being able to stretch it and shoot it. I mean, they're very deep and they're very skilled. I think what's kind of gotten to them this year versus the other years in the past is just that I think teams have been able to match their physicality. I'm not saying they've been able to beat it, but I think teams in this league have been able to match their physicality at some point. So that's what stands out to me about these guys is they're a stocks team. I call them a stocks team. Steals and blocks. So steals and blocks get those guys going. They go on crazy runs. Every time you watch, I mean, they're out 33-12 to San Diego or to San Jose State, and then you watch just a little segment there in the second half when they're down 10 or 12, and it's steal, block, 3, put back, and then boom. Next thing you know, they're up. Ball game.
To that point, how do they do that so well? What makes their defense the best in the Mountain West?
Yeah, I mean, I think their activity and their length, right? Their athleticism. When you have a guy who can block 3 shots a game, block shots are turnovers in most cases, right? You got a guy who block 3 shots a game. One of them can block 3 shots a game. Not to mention like what Bird does in the passing lanes, and then just how I think they're very intentional in how they gamble. They're not like a rogue gambling team. They're not just a bunch of guys just throwing a bunch of money on the table and saying, "Let's see what we hit." Like, I think they kind of play the algorithm a little bit. They're like, "All right, I think this one's going to hit," and they're very intentional about how they get in their passing lanes or the rotations in that sense, or how they're going to rake in the gaps. That's the stuff that to me is pretty special. And then you can't teach length, right? You can't teach 7 foot with probably 7'7", 7'8" wingspan, where Guath can just come out of nowhere and grab that basketball, and Bird can fly out of nowhere and just pin one.
I think they have the worst three-point shooting percentage in conference play. What makes their offense different? I mean, obviously, how important is kind of protecting the paint a little bit?
Protecting the paint's huge. It's one of our key emphasis right here is protect the paint. I think that you gotta kind of know that they've always had a physical identity, especially offensively too, is going inside and putting the ball in the basket from as close as you possibly can with those guys. And so you have to protect the paint and know that like if they're going to beat you, if it works out right, the game plan works out right. If they're going to beat you, they're going to beat you with threes. They're not going to beat you with twos around the basket.
Do you see this next 5-game stretch as kind of where the rubber meets the road here? You got a chance to pick up some big wins to strengthen your resume too?
They're great opportunities. The next 5, I mean, this is what's great about having a great league, right? Is these next 5-game stretches great opportunities for everybody, and for us especially. And I think like one thing about our guys is, that for the most part, what I've noticed is I think as much as I don't like playing down to levels or up to levels, right? I think that's pretty inconsistent. I do think our guys get a little bit more motivated when they see that, and they like to play up to the level of their competition. I'd like to think that we would do that, coming down the stretch here, but also know that we're going to have to do some things that keep teams off balance here in this next 5 games, because it just comes Saturday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Like it's coming quick. So hard for me to look 5 games ahead or 4 games ahead, because each game that you're focused on here is San Diego State and Utah State, right? You gotta stay locked in on this mission and then be able to come back to the next one. So there's multiple opportunities here to send statements or send messages. But I think this league too it's like it's going to be so interesting to see what happens down the stretch here with everybody. I mean, nobody's an easy out. So every night you better be ready to rock and roll.
As January comes to a close, we enter February. You talk about role identification and players stepping up with depth on the Cowboys bench. What do you see that's encouraging most as you go into San Diego State game?
It's February?
Yeah, tomorrow.
What the crap? I just don't even know what's going on. February 1st is my mom's birthday, so like I better put a note in my phone to be able to call my mom. I don't even know what month it is, let alone what day it is. What's encouraging to me about the role identification is just the narrowing of the focus to enhance the performance, right? We've been having some of our better shooting games in more recent history here, which means our guys are believing in the art of the three-point shot and the analytics there to go behind it. But also, it's like, you shoot better when you're not cluttered. When you're not thinking about, well, should I shoot? Should I do this? Should I do that? No, just do your job, space the floor, right? To me, that's what's been most encouraging, is guys are believing in the roles that they should have been believing in earlier, right? Don't show me how good don't show me what, it's a middle school mentality, we talk about all the time. Sometimes in a middle school mentality, when you tell a kid to do something, they do the exact opposite. They want to show you how bad they can be. Like, I don't want you to show me how bad you can be. I want you to show me how good you can be. I want you to prove me right that you are what we say you are. Like, I want you to prove us right in that aspect, not prove me wrong that you think, you could do something that you're not supposed to do. And so we've gotten rid of the middle school mentality in a lot of ways. And then to that matter, like, because we have so many guys, I think that we're still playing on any given night, it could be a different role guy's night to step up. That's why I just tell everybody, you got to be ready. Everybody's got to be ready. We're playing multiple guys. I don't think we haven't shortened the bench a couple games, but you do that to send some messages for guys to be ready to go and to know, like, you don't just get to play all the time. But when everybody's ready, like, then we can kind of find what works, like we did against Fresno. Find that lineup, that small ball lineup, or find what worked against UNLV, playing less guys because it was more important to play some of those guys who were getting a groove. It's a constant game of chess right here.
So obviously, Air Force and San Jose State, they were huge underdogs against San Diego State and UNLV. I mean, what do you think, watching the tape, what do you think they kind of did well, at least with San Jose State, to start the game against them?
Well, one, I think what they did was they guarded. I mean, that's the first thing you have to do, is you have to defend, right? They protected the paint. I thought they did a good job. I thought San Jose State's guards rebounded down well, which you can't give these guys second chance opportunities. In their wins, they're averaging 12 to 13 offensive rebounds. In their losses, it's 6 to 7 offensive rebounds. So you can't give them second chance opportunities. I thought that was a big key for San Jose State. And then San Jose State hit shots, right? Like, they hit a lot of shots in the first half. I mean, it was blistering. Blistering percentage. So anytime you want to go on the road and win against a formidable opponent, you have to go hit some shots. And then I think there's two real keys here. There's, Guath I think is a big X factor. Like in their wins, he's averaging +10. He's had big games too. He's had 24 points. His wins in their losses, he's averaged about 2.8.
Yeah.
And so like Wath is a big factor in those games. And you watch some of the games where he's been kind of nullified, been a little bit more physical. Teams have switched up underneath him. And I think that's a big key as well. Bird is Bird, man. Bird's going to do what he does.
And so this has nothing to do with San Diego State, but what's kind of your relationship with Steve Smiley been like? Obviously, you guys are coaching right down the road from each other, with college teammates. What's that kind of been like for you as a head coach here at your home state?
You're going to talk about Smiley. Man, like, that's my best friend, right? We lived together for 4 years in college. Jerdy Hall, which no longer exists at Northern State, you know, like we were Jerdy Hall legends. It was called Dirty Jerdy back in the day. They tore that bad boy down. You know, I've been following him for a long time. Smiley my brother was an assistant for him when he was at Sheridan Junior College. Steve has grinded it the right way, man, all the way through this profession. And to be where he is right now, to put the Bears in a chance to win the league down there in Big Sky, and doing it with one of my other best friends in Houston, Reed, who's on staff. I'm the godfather of his firstborn son, Madden Smiley, who's one of the best players in the state of Colorado.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, I'm very fortunate to be around my best friend, and to be able to talk to him consistently, you know, 2 times a week, just on stuff, just to trade ideas back and forth, but also to have a guy just to, and a lot of times as a profession, you don't get to have a friend in this profession who's also a coach, who also knows everything about you, so you don't always have to talk business, right? You can just chop it up and say some inside jokes. But to see what he's done throughout his career and like how he goes about it, Steve and I are like, it's funny, man, we're like polar opposites. Like Steve-O is way over here, like he's super anal about a lot of things, you know, and I'm over here like a free-spirited guy, you know, and that was what made our relationship so special. Like he was a 4.0 student. You know, he basically got me my international business degree at Northern State. Like if it wasn't for Steve, I don't know if I'd even have a degree right now. I got in the major because he was in the major. I'm like, well, that sounds cool. Like I'll do what he does. And I'm not that smart, and Steve's a presidential scholar, right? It's like this dude's a genius, and I'm over here just like, hey, what's B? What do you got over there? You know, he's like, stop. You know, like, stop. You know? And so it's like it's funny because to have that guy as your point guard, right, is massive. And that's why he's such a great coach. A lot of times great point guards are always become good basketball coaches, right? And, he's a special human, man. He's a special human.
Linder didn't like playing his friends. Are we going to see them, UNC, back on the schedule?
No, I don't have to play Steve Smiley. I don't want to play Steve Smiley. Like that's a good team, man. Like we might do a charity exhibition or something like that, you know, or you know, trying to raise a bunch of money for all of us. But like I'm not gonna play Steve-O. Like it's just like you can't win there. Like if I win, then we have bragging rights, and I can just harass him. Like, he wins, and he has bragging rights, and like you can't win there. I'm gonna strain our personal friendship for this, you know. Like stay in a fun zone here. You know, stay in the friend zone here.
Any questions on there?
Questions.
Excuse me, the voice is gone. When you talk to your team about playing defense, how often do you pop on that San Diego State tape? And I know you can't duplicate the length, but I assume that's a go-to.
Yeah, I mean, Linder was always brilliant in the way he attacked San Diego State, and he always talked about, you know, you have to eliminate hand-help, you got to flatten them out, and you got to stretch them out, and that's a lot of, you know, what you have to do. And you could show them tape after tape after tape on it, but like I always tell these guys, until you go to VA House and feel it, right? Like it's just you can't replicate that. That's why it's been since 2007. And so we watched some stuff last night. We also watched The Longest Yard in film, and with the clip when they were in the jungle, you know, when Adam Sandler, what's his name in there, Paul Krug. Paul Krug goes over to the jungle and he sees Michael Irvin and the boys over there. He's trying to recruit them to come play football, right? And they're on the concrete court, and you got Terry Crews, who's Cheeseburger Eddie, right? You know, he goes, I got the fries, cross your eyes, you know, like. And so we said, like, this game, in a lot of ways, it's different playing outside in the park than it is when you're in the gym. And you have to make this one of those games that's a lot more like you're playing on concrete. And when you show the film, the parallel to this was all the guys in the jungle were getting excited when, they hard foul, a block, or he'd steal it, and everybody in the crowd would go crazy. And that's San Diego State. A physical play, a steal, a block, like Viejas goes nuts. And you have to eliminate those opportunities so you could have a chance to actually go out there and get the dub and earn the respect, right, of your peers in this league. And so you can't replicate it. You can only watch like the longest yard to make them feel like maybe there's a little bit of a comparison there.
Any insights on recruitment thus far that you'd like to?
Oh, I can't comment on recruiting.
Okay.
Yeah, you can't comment on recruiting. Can't comment on what we have outside of the players that have already signed that are coming here, and that's a whole other bag of worms that's coming down the pipe here in a couple months, in a month or so. So, I'm sure you guys will have a lot of questions when that goes down.
Sonny, do you want Kobe putting up 6 to 8 triples a game, and how important is it for him to keep firing away when he can get hot in a hurry and really lead you guys? That's
it, man. Like I think Kobe's at his best when he's aggressive and looking at the rim, right? And I think a lot of teams, just the scout reports out, they try to run you off the line. And in Mountain West Conference play, I think he's either made 1 or 2 2-point shots in his entire time here. So like we don't want you to do, like, you might get one. He got a floater versus Fresno. Like you might get one, but like that's after you shoot your threes because we need the gravity. And you have to have guys like that. Like Dante was, I think, 4 of 11. Like you want guys to shoot, guys that can shoot. You want them to shoot shots. Just the numbers are in your favor in that side of it. And like you could be 2 for 9, right? But then all of a sudden you hit your back-to-back ones and you're 4 for 11. Like great. Like shooters can't be gun shy. They can't be gun shy. And when they get that great rhythm look, you got to reward it, and you got to be able to knock those bad boys down, because that's the stuff that makes us different right now in the Mountain West, is our ability to shoot the 3-point ball.
Coach, let's help.
Is there a number you want him at, attempt-wise?
30 is usually the number that we shoot for, that we've talked about, and that's when we're being ultra aggressive, and our guys are really looking at the rim. 30 is the number. That's usually the magic number that you want to get.
Let's help Dante raise his shooting percentage since non-conference to in-conference play here lately, last couple of weeks.
It's a secret. Tell everybody here, it's a secret. Nobody, I don't want anybody else to know us in the world. You got in the gym. Like when I see a guy regularly in the gym, when I walk in and I see you in the gym and I see you shooting and I know you're working on, like, instead of running away from the fact that you had a slump, you run into the slump, right? You just go into it and you just shoot and shoot and shoot until you get to a state of automaticity that it's not trying to do a bunch of different things. You just get in there and you slowly get your confidence back, and you realize that deep in your DNA of all the 10,000 hours plus that you've trained and that you've done this stuff, that deep in your DNA somewhere there is that confidence and there's that muscle memory that has to get back. And so many times, I think with the voices that people that are in people's heads, players' heads nowadays about as they're going to a close in their journey, is that everybody wants to tell guys, oh, this is what you need to work on to be able to do this at the next level. And all of a sudden, this guy has never done this for your entire career. I'm just using a broad example here. So let's say that Dante's he's been the 3-and-D guy his entire college basketball career. And he's been elite at it, shot over 40% for his career. And all of a sudden, somebody gets in your head and says, well, like, you got to be able to attack off the bounce, and you got to be able to make plays out of the pick and roll. Well, now you're chasing 2 rabbits, and you both get away. So now you're not great at what you're good at, and you're trying to be good at what you're bad at. And so the next thing you know, everything struggles. And that's why we always talk about high clarity equals high performance, right? High clarity equals high performance. So if you narrow your focus, you enhance your performance. But you got to continue to do what you do so well at a high level. That's what separates people. If you want a job at the next level, be a specialist and have a weapon at this level that translates. And nobody's going to look at that. It's like a buffet that's been out for 17 hours. You kind of walk through the buffet and you're like, nothing really looks good right now. COVID's ruined salad bars. I mean, let's be honest. Like, nobody trusts a salad bar anymore. You got a salad bar. I want to see the sneeze shield up there at a high level. And so it's the same thing with players. Is a player with a buffet full of stuff is you're a jack of all trades, you're a master of none, and that may help you at some levels, like just have some success. But when you get to a level where you really need to have a weapon, or you really need to be an elite skill set at something, then you should just continually dive back into that. And so what he's done is he's just kind of surrendered to the fact that, like, I am who I am right now. It doesn't mean he's not going to get a pick and pop and he's going to shot fake and go blow by. He's going to do that every once in a while.
Yeah.
But the majority of it is do what you do well and continue to do that without having any clutter in your mind. He's got in the gym, Anthony. Long answer to a short question. Thank you.
Good?
Any other questions?